Upbeat, gentle music begins, then fades slightly to background. Have you ever wondered if your child's unique quirks are more than just a phase? Or maybe you've noticed they interact with the world a little differently than their peers, and you're not sure what it means. You're not alone, and seeking to understand is the first step toward providing the best support. Welcome to the Brain Talk Sessions YouTube channel. Your journey to a healthier mind starts here, where we share psychology explained for everyday life. Today, we're diving into a topic that many parents and caregivers think about: the early signs of autism spectrum disorder. It's crucial to understand that noticing developmental differences early isn't about labeling or diagnosing your child. Instead, it's about observing their unique journey and being proactive in your support. When parents notice these signs early on, they can find supportive environments, adjust their communication styles, and create wonderful opportunities for their child to truly thrive. The goal is never to fix a child, but to deeply understand their individual needs and celebrate who they are. In the last 2 decades, global awareness of autism has grown significantly. We're seeing more schools, workplaces, and communities making a conscious effort to embrace neurodiversity. This progress is fantastic, but we also have to acknowledge that stigma still exists, especially in cultures that place a high value on conformity. By highlighting both the progress we've made and the challenges that remain, we can all better understand why continued advocacy and education are so important for every family. So, let's start with the basics. What exactly is autism spectrum disorder, or ASD? At its core, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, and behaves. These differences show up in how people use and understand spoken language and nonverbal cues, how they connect with others, and how they process the world around them. For example, some children with autism may begin speaking later than their peers, while others might develop a rich vocabulary but communicate in very unique ways. A key phrase you'll often hear is that autism exists on the spectrum. This is incredibly important because it means that no two autistic individuals are the same. Their experiences, strengths, and challenges are entirely their own. Some individuals may require significant support with daily living activities, while others might be highly independent but still face challenges, particularly in social situations or with sensory sensitivities. It's also vital that we clear up some common misunderstandings. Autism is not caused by parenting choices, vaccines, or a child being spoiled. It is not a temporary phase that a child will simply grow out of. These are harmful myths that can lead to unnecessary guilt and shame for families. Separating fact from fiction is the first step in creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment for both the child and their caregivers. Now, let's talk about the early developmental signs that parents and caregivers might observe. One of the earliest clues can be related to social interaction. While many babies naturally seek out eye contact with their caregivers and share social smiles, a baby who makes limited eye contact or smiles less frequently in response to others might be showing a different pattern of social development. It's not about avoidance, it's about a different way of connecting. Speech and language development is another area to watch. While it's true that not every late talker is autistic, consistent delays in speech or the development of unusual language patterns can be an early indicator. This might include a child repeating phrases they've heard, which is called echolalia, or using fewer words to communicate their needs compared to their peers. Another building block of communication is the use of gestures. Waving goodbye, pointing to an object they want, or clapping their hands in excitement are all ways young children communicate before they have a full vocabulary. A child who rarely uses these types of gestures to interact or get their needs met may be showing a difference in their communication development. You might also notice a difference in how a child interacts with their peers. While most toddlers show a growing interest in other children and seek out interaction, some autistic children may seem to prefer solitary play. They might appear more interested in objects, like the wheels on a toy car, than in playing with the other children around them. This isn't a rejection of others, but rather a reflection of where their attention is naturally drawn. Beyond social and communication differences, certain behavioral patterns can also be early signs. Repetitive actions, such as hand flapping, rocking back and forth, or spinning in circles, are common. These behaviors, often called stimmying, can look unusual to an outside observer, but they serve a crucial purpose. They are often self-regulation tools that help the child manage overwhelming emotions, process sensory information, or express excitement. Another common pattern is a deep, intense interest in specific objects or topics. An autistic child might become an expert on dinosaurs, train schedules, or planetary systems. They may spend long periods of time focused on this single passion. This intense focus can be a tremendous strength, showcasing an incredible capacity for memory and dedication. However, it may sometimes limit their engagement in a broader range of activities. Many autistic individuals also have a strong preference for routines and predictability. A consistent daily schedule provides a sense of comfort and security in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming. As a result, sudden changes, even small ones like taking a different route to the grocery store, can trigger significant distress. The routine isn't about being rigid, it's about creating a framework that makes the world feel safe and manageable. Sensory differences are another core aspect of the autistic experience. Many individuals on the spectrum process sensory input, sounds, sights, smells, textures, and tastes, differently than neurotypical people. This can lead to strong reactions. For example, a child might cover their ears in response to everyday sounds like a vacuum cleaner or a flushing toilet. Others might be distressed by bright, fluorescent lights. Conversely, some children may seem to underreact to sensory input, showing little response to stimuli that others would find intense. These are not signs of bad behavior, but indications of a different sensory processing system. This can also manifest in eating habits. So-called picky eating in autistic children is often driven by sensory sensitivity to the texture, smell, or even appearance of food. A child might only eat crunchy foods while refusing anything soft or mixed, like a casserole. Their food choices are not about defiance, but about managing sensory overload. You may also notice unique responses to physical discomfort. Some children may not show pain in the way you would expect, perhaps barely reacting to a scrape or a bump. Others may be overwhelmed by minor irritations that neurotypical people might not even notice, like the tag on a shirt or the seam on a sock. It's helpful to consider how these signs might look at different ages. In infants, from 6 to 12 months, signs can be subtle. They might include less babbling or cooing, a limited response when their name is called, or less frequent back-and-forth interaction, like passing a toy back to a caregiver. As children become toddlers, between 1 and 3 years old, the signs may become more apparent. Parents might notice significant speech delays, a preference for repetitive play like lining up toys in a perfect row, and little interest in pretend play, such as feeding a doll or talking on a toy phone. By the time a child is a preschooler, from 3 to 5 years old, they are often in group settings like daycare or preschool. Here, social challenges can become clearer. A child might have difficulty joining in with group games, show limited interest in sharing, or consistently prefer to interact with objects and toys rather than their peers. So, why does recognizing these signs early matter so much? Because young children's brains are incredibly flexible and adaptable, a concept known as neuroplasticity. The early years are a critical window for learning and development. Introducing supportive activities and strategies early on can create positive, long-term outcomes and help a child build essential skills for life. These supportive activities don't need to feel like therapy. They are often integrated into daily life through play-based learning, interactive storytelling, the use of visual schedules to create structured routines, and social games that help children build skills in a natural, fun way. Families often see remarkable growth when they adapt their communication and environment. This can be as simple as using more visual cues like pictures, creating predictable daily routines, and enthusiastically celebrating small achievements along the way. It's essential to remember that parents and caregivers are the true experts on their child. You are the key players in their development. You provide the daily encouragement, the unconditional love, and the most consistent environment for growth. Your involvement is absolutely essential to your child's progress and well-being. Thankfully, you don't have to do it alone. There are community resources available to help. Early learning centers, autism-friendly schools, and parent support groups can be invaluable. They help reduce the sense of isolation that many families feel and provide practical, hands-on help and advice. Ultimately, our collective goal should be to promote acceptance. When families, schools, and entire communities embrace neurodiversity and celebrate differences, autistic individuals are given more opportunities to flourish, contribute their unique talents, and feel genuinely valued for who they are. To recap, the key early signs we discussed fall into several categories: differences in social interaction and communication, the presence of repetitive behaviors and intense interests, and unique sensory sensitivities. If you notice a consistent pattern of these signs in your child, it doesn't mean you should panic. It simply means it's a good idea to seek guidance. You can reach out to your pediatrician, a child development specialist, your child's teacher, or local community resources. Remember, the goal isn't to rush to a label, but to get the support and understanding your child needs to thrive. Thank you for joining us today at Brain Talk Sessions. We hope this information has been helpful and empowering. If you have experiences or questions you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. Your insights help build a supportive and knowledgeable community. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video to help spread awareness and acceptance.